friends, and welcome back to my channel. It has been a while since I've filmed a video, but I'm very excited to get back to YouTube with what I have in store today, which is my haul from Blue Black in South Korea. My parents were able to travel there, and while they were there I asked if they could stop by Blue Black and pick up some exclusive inks for me in person, and here they are. I'm so excited. So what I have here, first is the Diamine City of London set. There are, let's see, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 ink bottles in here. There are no, preview ink colors, so we are going to have to do the full swatch to see. Same for the Diamond Almond Blossoms, the Vincent Van Gogh collection. No kind of sneak peeks on ink colors there, so it's going to be a fun ink swatching time today. Here we have some more Sailor Blue Black inks. Here you can kind of see what the ink colors are going to look like, but it's always a surprise when we swatch. I am going to be swatching on these Midori cards that I've made myself out of Midori Cream paper. I stamped these with a Beverly ink bottle stamp. This is just how I started my ink journey, and I have every ink I've ever had and passed through my home swatched on this type of card. So I'm just going to continue it, although I do have plans to change the paper that I am using to better show the colors on the papers that I'm actually writing on, like 𝘕𝘲𝘃 paper. So this is what I have for now. I will try to insert a clip of swatching on 𝘕𝘲𝘃 Sanzen paper. So let's go ahead and get started. Let's actually start with some of the single bottles. We'll get to this set and then we'll finish off with the City of London ink. This is called Misutgaru, and when I translated it, it translated to multi-grain shake, kind of like a rice shake. So let's go ahead and open this up. I am a sucker for brown beige inks. I do have a new brown pen that I am trying to find a match for, and this could be a contender. I love that it's etched on top with blue black. I like to clip the card to a pencil board here so I can see the grid behind it, so I can write straight. It's been a long time since I've swatched something, so I'm just going to pull out one of my previous swatches so I know exactly how I was swatching it. So here's an example. Do the name of the brand on top, then the name of the ink in cursive, a few lines, and then normally I always use the Kakimori nib. In this case, I guess I wrote here what pen I actually wrote it with. So I won't be doing the last step there, but let's get started here. I like to do one full pass across the whole bottle, and then I will keep this middle square section just with one pass, and I will try and do some more passes on the edge to see how color builds up with the ink. And that's how I do my swatch card. This is a lot yellower in color than I was expecting from the bottle. While I have the inks out, I am going to go ahead and swatch them in a Hobonichi notebook that I have. Next is Blue Black Matcha Latte, also from Sailor. It was the hardest to get swatches online of these colors. I guess not very many people who post to social media get these. Either that or I would have to search Korean hashtags. So I'm very interested to see how these look. I almost wanted to make a matcha latte just to compare how this one would look. It's really interesting because it was very green when wet and it's drying on the yellow side. You can still kind of see it here on the darker, more of that green shows up, but as it dries, more of the yellow comes out. Very green, reminds me of 𝘕𝘦𝘢𝘊𝘧𝘳𝘰𝘯𝘕 by 𝘕𝘕𝘊𝘬𝘃𝑗𝑒𝑟. It is a lot more yellow on the Midori Cream paper. On Tomoe River paper, this is actually the old Tomoe River paper, not Sanzen, but it is starting to dry and it is looking more like the design of the ink bottle. Very interesting. Okay, getting into the Almond Blossoms now. There were two sets for Vincent Van Gogh. I was able to find some swatches online of what these look like, and the colors spoke to me more on Almond Blossom. I think there's actually a third one. I can't remember if they're all for Vincent Van Gogh and different themes, but this is the one that I picked up. So here are the names. We have Almond Flower, Almond Tree, and Mood of the Day. And it is a plastic bottle, 30 ml, made in the UK, Blue Black Limited. Starting with Almond Flower. Still trying to work on the angle of using this Kakimori. see a hint of green in the gray. Next is Almond Tree. Now this was the shade that I specifically wanted this set for. This is more of a blue-green. I can see like blue undertones. And lastly, a mood of the day. Looks like a teal ink. This is definitely not an ink I would choose to buy on its own, but it is very pretty. And it matches the overall theme of the packaging very well. Okay, so mood of the day is still drying, but we've got our 3 inks here in the set. Alright, now the set I am most excited for, and the bulk of our swatches in this video is going to be from City of London set. The first one here is the one I'm most excited for, English Milk Tea. To be very honest, I picked up this entire set because of just the one bottle of ink that I've really wanted for a year now. But I'm also very excited for a lot of these ink colors because I don't normally gravitate towards jewel tone colors. I like pastels, fall colors. So I'm excited to start introducing different kinds of colors in my collection. Now there are a lot of blues, and blues are the inks that I gravitate towards purchasing the least. I do have quite a number of blue ink samples that have been sent to me by friends, and I'm surprised at how much I actually enjoy some blue inks. So this is going to be an interesting swatch here. So we have English Milk Tea, London Gold, Roast Beef, Mayfair, Westminster, Union Jack Blue, London Twilight, Harrods Green, Piccadilly, and Heathrow Brown. I have such high expectations for this ink. At first glance, I love it. It is the warm beige that I've been dreaming of. I was on a hunt for finding a similar shade to English milk tea because it was one of the first beige colors that I really loved and wanted. And when I found out it was exclusive to Blue Black, I tried to see if I could buy it. Blue Black does offer international shipping, but when I added to cart and checked shipping, it was like $100 to send it to the US, and that was a lot of shipping costs that were going to be eaten up, and at the time it was just not worth it. Lo and behold, I would have had this opportunity to get my hands on this ink thanks to my parents, and I am so happy I have it. We will see if there are any differences between the two types of paper at the end. And now London Gold. This is a beautiful shade. I do not own very many yellows. I might just own one other yellow ink sample. And this would be a great match to my 𝘕𝘰𝘠𝘬𝘠𝑁𝑢𝑡S pen. I'm realizing I didn't need to write Diamine Blue Black every single time. I could have just done a header of the set, but I've committed now. This might be the second color I'm most excited to have from this set. I like to ink reddish browns in my Pilot Custom 823, and I could definitely see myself inking that pen with this. Even with dabbing it off on my towel there, there's still so much ink. Now is Mayfair. I should have learned from swatching roast beef to not dip so far in. Oh, this one is just as beautiful. I might like this one more. There is a little bit of like a purple, maybe more maroon. Now we have Westminster, getting into the blues now. That is instantly like a blurple, a blue purple. Now let's go to Union Jack Blue. It makes sense that it's a lot of royalty colors. You have the royalty there. That is dark. That is a very, very dark blue. To be honest, I don't know when I would ever have an occasion to want that dark and rich of a blue. And now London Twilight. This is closer to the kinds of blues I gravitate towards. Now this kind of blue is one I would use. It reminds me of TWSBI's Midnight Blue, which I've inked in a pen before and used.
Why are the colors like that?
That's the colors of my inks.
Why?
Because 3 more inks here. This next one is Harrods Green. This is Piccadilly. This one reminds me of an ink. I just can't put my finger on which one. It's kind of like Schaefer's ink called Latte. Also kind of like Ferris Wheel Press, Steep Umber, but this one's got maybe more brown. This ink just looks and feels so familiar because I like to try a lot of brown inks. Last one now is called Heathrow Brown. And then we will do a full comparison of everything once this last ink is dry. This one instantly makes me think of Pilot's 𝘕𝘦𝘢𝘕𝘰𝘳𝘕, that is what it's called. Pilot's 𝘕𝘦𝘢𝘕𝘰. It's got that greenish undertone. It makes me think like the ink is muddy. That's how I feel about 𝘕𝘕𝘢𝘕𝘰 ink by Pilot. And this kind of has that same feel. There's just one color that would be hard for me to pick up and use. It is the Union Jack Blue. That one, swatching it and seeing it, it's the only ink that's got kind of a sheen to it. Here's the aftermath of swatching, mostly from the towel now getting pretty wet and handling it. But yeah, keep saying Diamine. Union Jack Blue is probably the one that I would have the hardest time getting myself to use. The sun is coming out for me now that we've reached the end, so we can get some good look at these colors. If I were to rate these colors to me and what I like to gravitate towards, from my top ones to my last one, it would be English Milk Tea. Then I'd actually have to pick London Twilight next. Then probably London Gold, Mayfair, Harrods Green, Piccadilly, Heathrow Brown, and then I guess these three at the bottom. Though I do actually really like roast beef and Westminster. It is Union Jack Blue that I really don't know how I will use with my pens. I may be able to use it just as an ink for dip pen. But let's bring in everything that we swatched today.